Community. It's something that we are all familiar with. From those we associate with to those that form our daily interaction, we are constantly surrounded by a community. That community is vital in the makeup of our identity. Throughout the course of my English class this semester, I had the privilege of learning about affinity space and the rhetorical concepts that follow. When my professor poised me with an opportunity to research any community group that I wished, I jumped at the chance to research sports. I specifically wanted to analyze why sports form a major affinity space and the impact that it can have on those in and around this specific affinity group. Today, I wish to share my research findings with you. In order to be able to understand how my research works, I would first like to elaborate on what affinity space is. Scott Kerwood states, in understanding literacy practices from their social, cultural, political, historical, and temporal practices, literacy is defined as socially recognized ways of generating, communicating, and negotiating meaningful content through the medium of encoded texts within context. What I really like about what Kerwood states here is that affinity groups operate within a larger or smaller community to be able to have optimal learning surrounded by those who share the same passion as you do. Kerwood's thesis stems from the main idea that there are many different minds have many different ways of thinking, but when brought together can make for a shared learning environment. The rhetorical concept that is important here is that of audience. In the sports community, it is vital that the audience is put at the epicenter and allows for major market events to draw people in and allow them to make connections. These connections can be basic or simple, but over time, ultimately grow and develop into stronger bonds and stronger connections. Not only are sports great at being able to make connections with certain communities and affinity spaces, but they also hold a great importance in the way that we communicate. Nat Turner states, good communication is the bridge between confusion and clarity. Turner highlights a key component to any affinity group through that of communication. In the world of sports are a common way that people can make connections through an established community, and that communication process is vital in being able to establish these connections. Communication is one of the most important factors when paired with sports. Kyle Jones, a researcher, conducts a case study on the relation to communication and sports. In his findings, he states that communication helps create a community where learning can take place within certain affinity groups and spaces. The rhetorical concept that ties into communication is pathos, which pathos is defined as being able to evoke emotion. The reason that emotion is so important is because in the community of sports, communication is the driving principle that allows this community to flourish. As Jones would say, the use of emotion in sports is huge because it allows for what Jones would deem teams that promote positive communication and respect among players improve overall motivation. Coaches, likewise, who learn to communicate effectively with their athletes can deliver positive feedback and constructive criticism in ways that actually influence players' performance. This aspect of communication may seem simple, but there are many working parts that go in it to be able to form the grand makeup of communication. Being able to invoke emotion is a major part of any sporting industry, and much like ethos, ties into that of being able to draw on your audience. Ultimately, my last finding stems from a case study conducted by Chris Gratton, as he analyzes the economic importance of sports in relation to the sporting industry. Many communities identify sports as an important part of the economy. When we look around the world today, we see that in places like Europe, soccer is at their epicenter. When we look to the United States, we see things like American football and the National Basketball Association, just to name a few. During the most recent COVID-19 pandemic, President Trump, the President of the United States, turned to the sports industry in a time of turmoil, looking to help revitalize the economy. In a meeting that took place between all of the major sporting GMs within the United States, they all agreed that they would like to be at the front center of being able to revitalize the economy post-COVID-19. What I like about this principle is that the use of logos is important because it promotes the use of evidence to convey a desired message. Throughout this semester, being able to research and understand these different concepts and see how they all fit together has fit perfectly into my research question on being able to analyze the certain aspects that directly affect the sports affinity group. Through my findings, I have come to understand the makeup of different communities and how learning and feelings of togetherness work to come together for an intended outcome. I was pleased to be able to gather valuable information and learn and grow upon my knowledge about something that I am so passionate about myself. The reason that I think that sports make up a valuable affinity space is because not only are they able to convey powerful messages, but there are many examples of personal stories that have inspired many people to be able to overcome. One quick example that comes to mind is that of Michael Jordan, who when in high school was cut from his varsity basketball team, but went on to practice through hard work and determination to be able to be labeled as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He is a short example of but a few of people who have gone on to inspire and create that sense of community where people have been able to come together and develop a sense of togetherness in these special moments where everybody is turning to look for something good and something positive.